Hi, this is Cindy LeBlanc. I'm with Procter & Gamble and we're going to show you exactly how to do a Publix store. We're going to show you a proof and fix and show you the tools that you will need to do a Publix reset. What I'd like to make sure that you have with you will be your checklist. This will be one important fact that we will go over, and then you will also need your planogram. You always need a planogram even if it's just a proof and fix. We will be going through the steps for your proof and fix, and now I'd like to show you some of the tools that you'll need to bring with you and make sure that you have at your stores. The cleaner you can get at the store. Make sure you bring with you a hammer, small hammer, large hammer, whatever you need, feather duster, rubber bands for discontinued items, label peelers, label scrapers, scissors for cutting tags. You always need a screwdriver for helping get chips off, just a regular label cutter. These hopefully will come from Procter & Gamble. These are do-it tags. These will go on the back of any carded item. When the card rips, it's a reinforcement. A Sharpie, a regular pen, and I think that's it. This kneeling pad is something that if you have with you, it'll be great. You're always on your knees. It'll save your knees from any pain and suffering. And we will go on and show you the next steps of our set. What we want to make sure is when you arrive at the store that you can see what size footage you're dealing with. Every one of these fixtures is 1 foot. You would count across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a 5-foot set. You need to make sure that you have the 5-foot planogram. If the wall is different than the planogram that's shipped in the box with you, make sure you have the right planogram in your packet before you start the reset. Another thing we want to make sure we call out here is at the top of our set is a header. In some other accounts, this pretty CoverGirl header is coming out, but in Publix this header is to remain in place. Now we're going to walk you through the steps, and I'm going to have my lovely assistant, Patty, help us go through all the steps of doing a proof and fix. Hi Patty, tell us how you go about getting started and doing maybe a pre-call for the store and letting them know that you're here, when you arrive, what you need to do. If you can take us through that, and then we'll start with the set.
Well, yesterday I called the store and asked to speak to the grocery manager or the assistant grocery manager, and I asked him if it was going to be all right for me to come in today and if the fixtures had arrived, and so he checked and said that yes indeed they had and that I could come in today.
Okay, and then when you arrived at the store, what did you do since you've been here?
Well, when I arrived at the store, I first greeted the grocery manager and talked to him about what I was going to be doing here today, and then I went to the stock room and found my box of fixtures, and then greeted the department manager and told her what I was going to be doing.
Okay. All right, Patty, so show us what planogram you have and how you're going to use it, because in the packet there's a lot to look at. So I'm going to look down at what you're going to be looking at.
The planogram that Procter & Gamble sent out has this beautiful picture of what the set should look like, and it said that it's a 5x66. When you open your box of fixtures that you receive, you will also see in there a planogram. So you need to check to make sure that they're the same plan so that you know you have all the items that you'll need to do the set.
Okay. And which sheet do you go by? Because this one doesn't have any numbers on it, and this one is just a color photo.
I generally take the one that's in the packet and open it to the second page to begin. And you can see that it has all the information that you'll need about each item and each tray.
Well, that's the first thing that you're going to do with your planogram. Now we're going to go into a proof and fix, and Patty's going to show us how she does it.
So that I don't make a huge mess while I'm working here, I start out by checking the planogram just to make sure that the fixtures are in every spot that they should be. So this first item shows that it's the smoother concealers and the invisible concealers. So I'm going to look to see that those are the items there. Then the next thing is the loose powder, and so forth all the way down each row, going all the way across, just to make sure that the major fixture is where it belongs, and that's a good place to start.
Okay. Then when you're done with that, you open the drawers and check.
From there I go back and pull out each drawer to make sure that the tags and the product match for each one going all the way across.
So tell me a little about these tags. They look different than other tags I've seen.
These are Publix specific tags.
Okay.
They have the Publix description for each item and the Publix order number at the top. Under the barcode then is the UPC code so that you can check each item to make sure that it's the correct one. They match up.
Perfect. And these will come directly to the reps' homes, and these are the only things to be used in Publix inside all of these trays, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The only exception would be if you, for some reason, need another tag and you ask the store to create one for you.
Okay.
In that case, you would want to cut off the price tag the price point off of the tag and use the barcode only on the inside of the
Right,
tray.
because there will be a possibility you might not have all the tags you need, but we still need to make sure that it can be reordered.
Yes. While I'm checking the tags in each drawer, I'm also checking the product on the shelf to make sure that they're all in their correct home. So take this opportunity to straighten and also to rotate the product.
And what do you mean by rotating? Show me an example.
Well, for example, on this item you can see the little new. Well, if it's new, it really means it's old and it needs to come to the front so that it sells through first. So if this item were back behind, I would pull it out and move it to the front.
Perfect.
And
the other thing, we have some items that have an SPF. So what happens with an SPF item in the set?
Again, as you're coming to the SPF items, you're going to want to pick them up and look at the back to see when they expire.
Okay, and we'll go over that. This doesn't get very clear. We'll go over that in more detail when we do the little checklist. But this will be, you do this at the same time you're doing your proof and fix.
Yes, I rotate because that's when I'm at each shelf, that's my good opportunity. I've got the tag open, I can see what is supposed to be there and make sure that they are all there. And then I'm already here looking at the product, so then I'm going to rotate it as necessary.
So Patty, you found a couple of mistakes while you were doing your proof and fix. What is this right here?
Well, the product says 530, the tag said 533, and the little number on it said 533. So I'm going to make sure and put a new tag here for this item.
And that's because you looked at each individual item.
Yes, because as you're pulling out the drawers, you need to look at each one to make sure that the little tag, the product, and all the graphics associated with it all match.
Perfect.
Good tag with a bunch of fixtures, or with a bunch of graphics, and so you're going to need to go through them and change out the graphics that are on the set already for the new ones that are going in. You can see the Lip Perfection is getting a new one here. The old one looks like that, and the new one is going to be this one.
Okay, and it looks like you got a lot in that bag, so basically that's like a generic set of graphics, right?
You'll get a set of graphics that could possibly go in any Publix store, so you're not going to use all of them in every set. So you have the ones that you'll need for the 7-foot and also the 5 and the 4. So I keep my leftovers in the trunk of my car so that when you get to a set, if for some reason the graphics are missing or damaged in some way, that you still have the graphics that you need so you can complete the set. Also later on other calls, if you make a check and fix call like we're doing today,
you might need them.
You might need them because they somehow disappear or get damaged or makeup on them, so you can change them out.
Okay, so show us what you're going to do with this Lip Perfection box.
I'm going to pull the old graphic out and replace it with the new one.
And this is all part of the reset and the proof and fix to make sure all this is done every time, correct?
Yes.
That looks much better. So Patty, you've noticed that there is a graphic missing here, and we call that product holder. And this is the pip for the product holder.
So we have the Makeup Masters pip and a new plastic that we're going to put on here. You need to remove the price points. Now, this being on the top, you're going to want to put the graphic in upside down versus what you do on the other ones.
Okay, because see how these all have an angle, and these angle up so they can be seen. And the problem is if you don't angle these, then the customer can't see them. So you need to let them flat so the customer can see them.
Okay. So you're going to put the bottom.
Let's show the edge.
The edges are different. There's a top and a bottom. This is the normal top. This is the normal bottom. But for the top
Hold it
one,
against your shirt. Maybe that'll be better. There we go.
okay. This is the normal top, and this is the normal bottom.
Okay, the smaller side is the top. So
Yes.
we're going to flip it.
We're going to flip it for the top row,
Okay.
and only the top row.
And they never go on as smoothly as Patty just let it look like they went on, but she's a pro at this. You will get frustrated with this graphic. And then after you're done, you want to put your price points back on.
checking this store, we realized that on a previous set, these mascaras were not moved, and you can see just by the color that the purple goes on the bottom and the clear one goes on the top. And you can see that's not how it is here.
Oh, gotcha.
So we're going to move the product and the tags so that it matches the planogram.
Okay, again, this is the perfect time to do it during a proof and fix and make sure that the set is set perfectly. So we're going to open that drawer, take the tags out, and if the tag rips, what do we do at that point?
We'll put it on our list to make new tags because
Okay.
we didn't receive that because it's not part of the normal reset.
Okay, and if we have the tag, we'll use the tag. If not, we have the store make one.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now this looks like an easy kind of surgery that you're doing instead of having to try and peel that tag off.
Yes.
Especially if you don't have one.
If you don't have a tag and you want to just move something, you can just cut the plastic and move it to the tray where you would like it and tape it back.
Oh, perfect fix. When you're replacing any of those tags, make sure you're not on the tray directly. Make sure you have a plastic that will go in it so the tags can come off easier and not stick to the tray and create any damage to the tray. Okay.
Okay, now I'm looking for the tags, and it's really very simple. They're in UPC code order, so you can check the back for the UPC code and find it in the in your
Okay,
pack
and they
out
also
of
go, not category, but it looks like they're all grouped. These are all the mascaras and liners.
Yes, so you can scan through quickly and see where I'm looking for mascaras, and this page is mostly mascaras. So you can
Okay.
find your tag.
And then neatness counts on this too. We want them as neat as you can. And put it in there on top of the plastic that Patty had as part of the graphics that came with the set, a whole bag with plastics in it. In part of this reset, this spritzers box, this is new, one of our wet slicks, there's some changes in here. So show us how you're going to make the changes on this.
Well, the first thing I did was put up the new cling graphic, and it just clings. So again, it was in your pack out, and you just line it up and run your hand over it, and it sticks very nicely.
Okay.
The second thing we're going to do is change out the little chips.
Okay.
Now there is a trick to it, so that if you wanted to reuse them for some reason, say a box was reconfiguring and you just wanted to move the chip from one location to another. So on the bottom there are two little places where it grabs hold of the tray. So you want to gently put in your screwdriver and then lift it up. And I can't do it at that angle. On either side, just gently to pop it out so that it lifts off without breaking the two little.
Perfect. Okay. And then you've got a new chip that just snaps back in place.
I have a new chip that I'm going to just put right back into its spot. And you put the top on, and then again, you're just going to gently push on either side so that you don't break the little lip.
Got it. Perfect. And then repeat. So Patty, you're just going through now and doing some last minute cleanup and making sure everything looks good. One of the things I was going to ask you is, can you show me how you check these? You were doing something over here and I wasn't sure. That would be a good thing to show on the video.
Well, I was checking the smoothers because there was a package change on them, and they had some little green new stick graphic on them.
Okay.
So to check that quickly, I was going to just pull the tray out. So underneath there's a little
Like a tab?
tab that you
Okay.
just push down with your finger, and then you can slide the tray out. Then I just kind of tilted the product down so that I could see if there were any of the new tags from the older product that I
Okay.
needed to move forward. And then I just pushed it back in place until it clicked, and you can feel it and it doesn't come back out easily.
Okay, that's a good lesson.
What you need to do as you're checking these is to just give a little tug on every one of them to make sure that they're all locked in place, because you don't want a customer pulling on something and have the whole tray come down on them.
Right, or when the girl comes to order for the section. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you pull on them, and if it doesn't lock into place, then just push it back until you feel it click back into place, and then give it a little tug to make sure that it is secured
in
to
there.
the wall.
Well, that's a good segue into the checklist that we have that's part of this proof and fix and part of all of Publix resets. And this checklist has 21 items on it. And the very first one is even before you arrive at the store. That one's checking to make sure that the fixtures are there.
Exactly. I usually check on the website to keep track to make sure that the fixtures have actually been delivered at the store before I call them and ask them if they're there. Because if they haven't been delivered, I'm wasting everybody's time.
And sometimes they get ours confused with other brands.
They do. I have called in the past and asked, and they said, yes, they're here. And I go to the back only to find Revlon or Maybelline fixtures and not
No
mine.
CoverGirl. Okay, so let's say the very first item, so then the number 2 item would say double check all inside reorder tags to confirm that they are accurate based on the planogram and none are missing. So we've done that when you were doing your very first step. You opened the drawer, you checked and made sure that they coordinated to the product and the corresponding planogram. So we know that was accurate.
Then we went through the graphics and checked to make sure that all the new graphics were placed and the old ones pulled down, and any missing ones were also replaced.
Okay, and over here, these are all in really good shape. I've been in stores before when this brush has been broken off, or just this whole little factice was missing. So that would be something we'd need to note and reorder, correct?
Yes, and in the meantime, you could pull it down and put up just a plain plastic graphic that goes across so that you don't have a broken one.
Correct. That would be good.
From the set.
Okay. All right, what's your next step on there?
Then it said to flip the graphic holders, which I showed you on that.
Yes, and we
top
have
one.
those top 2 flipped, so they're not angled, and everything else in the set is angled. Okay. Now this one's an important one, number 6.
Yes, now we're going to check to make sure that each one has a price point, because customers will not buy it if they don't know how much it costs.
And Publix does it different, because I see there's one like this, and then I see like down here there's one like this with a barcode. Which one does Publix like?
They like the one without the barcode, so at this point I would be taking a little scissors or a knife and cutting the barcode off and then replacing it on the...
And then I also noticed they all seem to be on the right-hand side, going down. It looks very nice and organized that way, and we want to make sure that that stays on the right-hand side.
Yes.
All right, so now after we've cut those down, those look really good. What's next on your list?
The next thing on the list is to make sure that there's no product overlapping. Now, from time to time, we have to reconfigure the peg holders, and when we do, we have to use the hammer to pull them apart, and now would be a good time to make sure that they were all placed in the correct spot so that you don't have product hanging over the side or against one another.
Okay.
So I don't see any that need to be fixed in today's set.
And also, when you do that, how do you do that? Do you just take a step back and look at this planogram? Because sometimes I know in other stores, this product might be hitting here, and sometimes you're too close to it if you don't take that step back.
Yes, exactly.
And then you can kind of see where there might be a gap or where there might be a place that needs fixing. So always take that step back in that situation. All right, what's next to look at?
Next, we're going to look at the locking brackets. So we have trays that hold multiple items, and they do get heavy and start to lean forward. And you can see that in this tray here, that it is leaning forward.
And it's wobbly.
And it's very wobbly, and it's not secure to the wall. So on this one, we're going to add a locking bracket.
Okay. So this is the lock that you were talking about, the tab to pull down and pull that forward. Okay.
Yes.
So now you've just got the bracket on the wall. Brackets, I see have something written on them, and they're kind of hard to see. There's an L and there's an R on that one.
Yes, they're the left and right.
Okay.
Normally they would go on the left or right side, and you want to have one peg hook in the middle, one peg hole in the middle. Now on this one, the wall is configured in such a way that it's too short for it to fit in that way. You can see if I tried to do that, you don't get a spot in the middle. They're right next to each other, so it's
too tight. Okay. So you can actually flip them and they'll still work.
Yes, but you only do that when you have to. They're not as secure this way. They tend to wobble a little more, but it works.
It works. Okay. And then I saw that this is another type of bracket. This is a fixture holding bracket.
Yes, and there are two kinds of these. There's the one that looks like this, kind of a W, and then there's another one that is more square, looks more like an H.
Okay.
And they're not interchangeable, so you have to check what kind of tray you have and use the correct
bracket. Okay. Now let's see how you do that locking bracket. Okay, so you're putting the locking bracket on, and that consists of 2 back wall brackets, and then this bracket that has a sliding thing in it.
Yes, this is the locking bracket.
Okay.
So it goes in like that.
Okay.
Now, this little thing that slides, you're going to latch onto the top.
Okay.
Of the tray.
This little inverted part right here gets locked with that piece.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And how many
keeps it-
holes did you go in between here for this fixture, this shadow fixture that's 5 high? 4 high, sorry.
4 high. I put my left and right in at the 12th hole up.
Okay. And you slid it back on. Now you're getting up on top.
Need a hand? Y'all got it?
I got it. Thank you.
Can you take a picture of that so we can see how that looks locked in?
See how it's locked right onto the tray. Now it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, that doesn't wobble at all.
No.
And it's not leaning at all. It looks perfect. And that's an important step even in this one here that's 3 high, but definitely with these that are 4 high so they don't wobble, fall, break, and fall on the customer. So anything that's 3 or higher should have that locking bracket.
Yes.
And you found that on the checklist, right?
Yes, that was the next item on the checklist.
Okay, well let's move on and we'll go.
Since putting in the locking bracket, you can see that it pushed it up closer to the wall and created a gap here.
Yep.
We can't leave that at eye level. It doesn't look good. So we're up. You also can notice that the mascara is a little tight here. So I'm going to move this up 1 to take up that space so that we don't have that gap anymore.
Perfect. Okay, show us how you do that.
First, I'm going to take the tray back down. So now I'm removing the mascara.
Okay.
And I'll move my left and right up 1 and then replace the mascara.
So now you put the eyeshadows back with the locking bracket, even though it's time consuming, but you made sure you made that adjustment so there's not that gap right at eye level, and the gap is now spread between the 2 places.
Yes.
Looks a lot better. And you've got another locking bracket on your blush that you're going to put because the blush is wobbly.
Yes.
So we will see you do it one more time. So we ran into a little snag with the tray above being
Too close.
too close.
So I needed to pull it out so that I could get my hand in there and place the left and right.
Okay, I see that you've taken those 2 brackets and almost butted them up against. There's no hole in between.
No.
Okay. This looks like a fun little challenge, getting your hand back in that area.
It is. There we go.
And you locked it real easy.
Thank you.
Now, in most cases, these locking brackets are already in place. This store just didn't happen to have them, right? So you won't be replacing them in all stores.
No, you won't be replacing them in all stores, but sometimes you do have to move the tray so that you can change out the fixture holders below it because it's in the way. So you need to know how it works.
And then that's also something that they might need to order a couple of to keep in their...
Yes, I keep 2 of those in my trunk along with 2 sets of left and right brackets and an ingredients holder in case one is broken or missing in the store.
So that you don't have to have cause for a revisit, you can just get it done at that time.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next part on the checklist. It says to make sure these are all locked. I think we...
Okay, there are 2 ways to fix this. Hopefully, just by pushing it back into place, it will click into place.
And this again was because probably you said that left and right is reversed. And that's why this one isn't maybe catching as good?
There are several reasons for it, but it doesn't really matter. Just
Okay.
make sure that when you're pushing it that it's locking into place. But this one is not. Now, there's a little clip on the tray, and there's a little hole in the bracket that is clipping into. Okay. If for some reason the button is not popping up into place, you can take your little screwdriver and again gently, because you don't want to break these fixtures.
Oh, and that just locked really nice. Okay. Now the next thing on your list you've already done as you were doing your proof and fix was the product rotation for SPF items.
Yes.
So when it lists the items for you,
Yes. The Aqua Smooth, the Simply Ageless, the Tinted Moisturizer, the Naturelux Lip Balm. The store doesn't have, but they have the Naturelux makeup.
now these are very hard to find. This one is imprinted up in here, but you do know that this one will say, I don't even know if I can get this on the camera. This says August of 13. So the other thing about rotating the SPF that I've noticed on these is it might be June of 2013 and then November of 2013, and we want the June in the front, November in the back. So
Exactly.
those are very important things to make sure you're rotating anything with an SPF. And your next one is just regular product rotation, which we talked about, that the new sticker comes toward the front, and anything that says new isn't necessarily new. And the next one says remove the green new stickers from last season. Is this what they're talking about?
Yes, there's little new stickers on the trays, and they just peel right off. You just stick your fingernail under there. And I peeled them all off.
And those are from last season's items, because you know the only thing you added to this set this time was this thing.
Yes.
So we wouldn't have any of those green stickers anywhere. And there's one right here. Perfect. And the next thing says to pull all expired coupons. And right now we don't have any coupons, but a lot of times when an item is going to be discontinued from the set, it'll have a coupon on it before we do our reset. So by the time it's time for us to come and do our reset, it has to be pulled, right?
Yes, so you want to make sure that you pull all of the coupons. A lot of them expire, and then you run into problems at the check stand, and it makes the customer unhappy.
Okay.
The next thing is to ensure that the ingredients vehicle is in all the sets.
Okay. And that ingredient thing is real important for people with allergies, and I do not see one in this set. So where did you come across one?
No, it looks like it broke, and you can see the little piece left from it.
Okay, that looks like a bracket, but yep.
Yeah, it's broken. So
Okay.
I mentioned earlier, keep a couple of them in the trunk of your car so that you can just run out there and grab it and put it up.
Okay.
Yes.
And voila, you have it.
Yay.
Okay.
So we will just replace the broken part because this is the
And now there's
only thing
papers that go in here, and this ships at every reset. All these updated because it'll have like the new lipstick or whatever item is in it, and then you just fill that with that. And that should be in every single set, no matter what the size is.
missing. Yes. Ta-da.
Okay. Very good. All right, what else do we have to do? Everything is looking really good. Now I do notice this guy's missing a cap, so he's probably damaged. He's probably been tested and used. We should take this out of the set. And one good rule of thumb is whatever you won't put on your face or purchase, what do?
I pull it off the set because no one's going to buy it.
Right. And just what we've done here is we've put some of the discos that we had, we rubber banded them together, anything with the like UPC, so it makes it easier for the department manager to scan these out of the set. And then there's also some new items that will go in the set, and we'll make sure we'll rotate those going into the wall. And now after the putting the IDV holder on, you have to clean the section.
Yes. Now anything that I moved, as I was moving it, I was cleaning it. But now I'll go back and make sure that all the sticky stuff is off the front of the trays and that everything is dusted and cleaned off so that it looks as good as I can make it before I leave the store.
Because we're not going to be back here for a while.
Yes. Now, the very last thing you're going to do is find a manager or the department manager and bring them over and show them the changes to the set. Point out any new items and tell them about the discontinued and what to do with it. And then get someone to sign off on your set and get a store stamp.
Okay, so don't just go up to the front and do that. Bring them over here, let them see your work and what you've done.
Be proud of what you did and say, come and see it. It's the best it's going to look. See how pretty I made your set.
And then also another idea too is if you do have an out of stock, point it out and say, you know, this is out, it's a true out. They can reorder if they need to, but they know it's been rotated and it's, like you said, in the best shape it's going to be.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Patty. Well, now the set is perfect. Everything is clean, everything is pushed to the front, and everything is rotated. And one thing I wanted to point out was this new packaging on the Olympic products. This is supposed to stay in the front of the pegs, whereas normally you would rotate that to the back because it was new, but because Olympics is right now the biggest event and we are one of the biggest sponsors of the Olympics, we want to make sure that that package goes in the front and the customer can purchase the Olympic packaging. So that rotation is a little backwards, but we want to make sure that that is done the right way. So again, you want the Olympic packaging in the front. You brought somebody over.
Yes, this is the assistant grocery manager, Jimmy.
Okay. Hi, Jimmy.
How you doing?
So I'm just going to show you what I did today. I straightened and rotated and did the new set and added your new item, which is the new mascara over here. That was your only new item, and a couple of new flavors in that lip gloss. Okay. So it looks beautiful. It's all perfect.
And do you have any questions about the CoverGirl?
No, not really.
Okay.
I know it needed to be done, so I'm glad.
Yep. And we went
Took
through
the time
and
to do it today.
we told her where there were some out of stocks, so if she needs to go through and just check her accounts on any of that, and she's well aware of that.
Okay, good, good.
Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
If I can just get your signature on my paper today.
No problem.